Hi, this is Ginger Bell. Today is Friday, April 24th. Happy Friday. We've made it through another week. And welcome to this episode of Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. Today in the United States, we have over 890,000 confirmed coronavirus cases. We have over 50,000 deaths, but we have over 90,000 who have recovered. So have a great weekend. Enjoy this episode of Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. Well, hi there. Welcome to the next episode of Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. This is Ginger Bell, and today I have with me a special guest all the way from Hawaii, Miss Tiare Fullerton with Mortgage Associates of Hawaii, which is your division of APM. So welcome so much, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha indeed. I was so excited when you signed up to do a video because Oahu is one of my favorite places to visit. My husband's actually from the island, and we have many friends there. So we are all anxious to hear how you are doing there on the island and how things are going. So how are things? I know as of to date, you are, I think, self-quarantining for anyone that's arriving on the island. Is that correct?
So everyone who's arriving on the island is supposed to go into a self-quarantine, and we're at a stay-at-home or stay-in-place order for everyone except for essentials. And yeah, we're doing pretty good. I think, like everywhere, we're having to remind a few people that it's, that it's serious.
Right.
And right. I mean, it's where it is. And I start to see more and more people wearing their masks and being a little more protected as time goes on. I think we go through it first. I know I did. I was like, oh, this is it's not as big of a deal, like probably about 3 weeks ago. And as time's gone on, I'm like, now I go with my mask, and I'm starting to see a few more people. And so it's acceptance of just what we need to do to flatten that curve. It's going to make a huge difference.
Right. And, we on the mainland, and I'm in Oregon, have access to probably more resources than you do there. But it's something, not the quarantine and the social distancing, but it's not something that is completely foreign to you on the island as far as having limited supply of things, right?
True. We do every time there's a hurricane alert where we run to the store to buy water and toilet paper and food and supplies. So I think we may have a little bit of a temperance for it to make it a little, it's not easier, but we tend to go through it a little bit more often when we're in hurricane season.
Right.
So we may stockpile a little bit more than you folks do in the mainland because we can't drive to the next state.
Yeah, you have the list. You kind of know what to get and how long it's going to be and things like that. So a little more prepared in that regard. So one of the first things I want to ask you, obviously being a leader in the mortgage industry and managing a branch that you do, how do you keep yourself in check and in positive and being able to focus on the things that are at hand as far as being able to lead your team through what we're going through right now? How are you taking care of yourself?
I'm trying to find time in the beginning of my day and at the end of my day. To the beginning of the day to set it up. How do I want to show up that day? Mm-hmm. I have people in my office. How do these people need me to show up? And then I have 2 small children at home. And so I'm juggling work and learning to be a homeschool teacher and a preschool teacher.
Wow.
And so trying to create some time for all of those things. And I'm really trying to stay very present on how I'm feeling because I noticed that I was getting anxious a lot.
Right.
And so when I'm feeling that, I take a time out for myself. I take a walk. I listen to some music. I really have dug into, I'm kind of a big closet Brene Brown, actually not closet, everybody knows Brene Brown,
Nice.
Mel Robbins. I'm trying to just put the good in, limit the exposure. And then at the end of the day, I just try to process, what do I need to let go of that's not going to serve me for the next day?
I love that. Well, and I think letting go is hard because when things are out of control, your natural response is not to let go, but to almost do the opposite. And that's kind of the mentality that we're seeing of people in the stores and getting things and stockpiling. It's like that, I need to have something. I can't control anything. And so I love the fact of the letting go, especially in the evening, to let go of that, I think is great advice. So, so important.
And I think it's important for our team as well as our families, because we're all leaders at some level, even if we're just leading ourselves. And I watched a great podcast, and it was, when we can't control the bigger things, then we tend to focus on all of the little things that we can control.
Right.
And that was a great message for me, because I'm a little bit of a taskmaster. I think a lot of us in the industry are.
Yes.
There's a personality trait that's common among us.
Yes.
So
guilty.
Yes. So I'm trying to manage that piece and manage my energy. I think that's super important for me and hopefully for others. And I try to really set aside time to go for a walk. I'm blessed where I live. It's a 2-minute walk to just go and put my feet in the ocean.
Right.
And let my kids let all of that energy out too. So important to find that time for yourself.
Well, exactly. And, leading a team, there's a certain ability you have to know what people need. And so being a good listener and taking those breaks, not just for yourself, but for your team as well, is important, because they all may be at different spots. So how are you meeting with your team? Are you doing, daily meetings? Are you doing individual meetings? A lot of people are doing videos where they send out a video in the morning. What are the things that you're doing for your team?
So for me, I'm trying to check in with them daily. How are we doing? What do we have on the schedule for the day? What do you need my help with? And what is your plan for the day? And just trying to help them stay focused as much as we can. And it's, sometimes it might take a little longer to get something done, and just, not trying to overmanage the milestones, to just give us a little bit of flexibility in there.
Right. And right now we need flexibility because things are changing between what's essential. And I know for many of us on the mainland, housing and real estate has been considered essential. And so, there's a lot of changes that happen because of that, and appraisers can still go out, but that's still different as far as what that looks like. And, our notaries and our e-signs, and, this just happens so quickly. So you have to be flexible throughout that. And, having that team to where you're that leader with the team is important. But what are the things you're doing as far as your network? Because I know you are involved with a women's organization in Hawaii that provides that, leadership, the support, the companionship, somebody to talk to. It's like, I need to scream. Obviously, you want to make sure you're maintained, especially around your kids. I think that's, first and foremost, the most important thing. And the same with your team. So what are you doing to have that release as far as the people where you can be in freak out mode? Have you established that?
Yeah. I try to call 3 people a day.
Nice.
And just to reach out and, hey, how are you doing? Do you need anything? And, just know that I'm here if you just need to call and vent and scream. And that's really how I've been managing the energy of that. Is I feel like 3 is good. 3 I can manage. You can spread them out, and it's not a hard call, but you want to kind of clear between those calls so you don't start the next call with the same energy that you did the last time you talked to somebody. So that's been my goal, is just to reach out to 3 people. Hey, do you need a mask? Do you know anybody who needs a mask? I'm coordinating 8 ladies in the community who are hand making masks, and we're trying to get them out to the senior centers. The bigger hospitals need them as well, but the senior centers, they're starting to run low.
Right.
In one of our ERs, they were already reusing their masks. So, yeah, so it's the reality, and how can we make a difference, and who can we help?
Right. Well, and I think that's so important right now is we don't always know who needs the help. And so being able to
Right.
reach out and say, because sometimes people are reluctant to say, hey, I need help for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Maybe they don't even know what they need, or just a feeling like I'm going to survive. I know I can do this. And
Yeah.
so taking that proactive approach and then contacting them is great. And I love, and Hawaii has always had this close-knit community anyway, of very much being supportive and helpful, and everyone's a cousin and an auntie and all of those things, all the things I love about Hawaii. And so, just making the masks and, getting those together, I think that's a fabulous idea to be able to do that. And for those people, it's like, we're not at war, but we're at war. And so you think of the time frame that everyone pitched in and everyone figured out what they could do in order to help. Fred Rogers has a quote that I absolutely love, and is I have said over and over again, that he said when his mother said, told him, if you see scary things on the news, to look for the helpers. That there are always people that are helping, and I think that we live in a society that is rich of those people. And today I watched, there was a group of doctors and nurses that were honestly flying into New York to help and to relieve the doctors and the nurses there. And they're our new soldiers. That's our front line. Between them and those that are working in the grocery stores, and those that are, serving, food and the Meals on Wheels and all those things. You can be a helper no matter what that is. And I think it helps us as far as our soul and our being to be able to do that and to feel like you're contributing. So looking for those ways are important. How did you do that? And just getting into the conversation as far as getting women together and maybe men too, to be able to make masks. How did you coordinate that?
So can you see me?
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
Oh goodness. Let me see. I don't know what just happened. So I'll keep talking if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's one of the advantages of doing this. We're recording. And so for those of you who are listening, we just lost video for a minute, which is not unusual, obviously, with Zoom and everything. So Tiare, please just, keep talking. If you can get back on video, obviously we'd love to see your beautiful face.
So I was I found it was a Facebook group on the North Shore, and I saw it was a husband's plea for his wife. She's a healthcare worker, and they were saying that they were already reusing their masks. And so what I did was I just put a Facebook post out. I picked up some material, reached out to a friend who is a seamstress, and, ask her, how can I help? And she said, oh, I can give you some material. And so I just put a Facebook post out and said, hey, who has time to sew? And they just started messaging in, and they, everybody, they were just so helpful and willing to help. So I just made little packets of elastic and material and thread that I had picked up on my way home, and just drove them by, handed them out the window, and there they were there.
That's fantastic. And those are the kind of things that makes me think. My mother was a seamstress when she was alive, and I probably have a case full of fabric that we had cleaned out when she passed away, that's down in my garage. And so I'm not a seamstress by any means, but, to be able to say, hey, I have fabric, I think that's a great idea. And maybe that's one of those things, if you have a pattern or if you have recommendations, we could do a video, showing them how to make the masks. I think that's a wonderful idea, and especially using them for assisted living and for nursing care homes.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that pattern. There's lots of them out there as well. And you can just make a Facebook group in your area. And just ask people who you know. See, I didn't have a sewing machine, but I knew people. And
right.
So I leaned into what I could do. And these ladies knew how to sew. They had sewing machines. The needle was broken. So I said, hey, does anybody have a needle? I mean, it was 50 years ago how things got done.
Yeah.
And what do you have? And I love that about, as hard as this time is, I love who we're getting to be for each other, because yes. I think it's been missing and we all didn't even realize it was missing. And we're connecting in a way that we didn't get to before.
Right. Yeah, it definitely has done that, to where we're connecting through conversations, through videos, through helping, through being resourceful. And it definitely has done that. A great reminder for those of us who are so busy that we are definitely all on this planet together, and together we take care of each other. So I love that idea. And that's it too. It's just looking for those ideas that, you may not be a seamstress. I'm not a seamstress. That's why I do what I do. And so, but I do have a sewing machine. So, you've inspired me to start a Facebook group, and, maybe we can do that together and kind of reach across and start something like that. So that's what it's all about.
I've gotten more comfortable. So what I did is because when I was younger, my mom taught me to sew. And so I ordered a sewing machine, and it'll be in here in 7 to 10 days via Amazon.
Nice.
And, I figure I'll try, because, a lot of people don't know where to get the resources. And so I'm just calling, hey, does your family have masks? And they're like, thank you so much for reaching out. So I think it's just, and what I did was I needed something to fill the time that I knew was going to be that I would get lost in reading all of the negative. Right. So I needed to put something positive into that space. And so that's, I do it in the evenings, and I'm like, okay, who needs elastic? So it's just an opportunity to for me to just fill that space in my soul that I love to lean into.
Absolutely. And you know what? You can probably still get elastic on Amazon, unlike toilet paper. So, no?
It's actually 4 to 6 weeks on Amazon for elastic.
Wow.
But if you look for groups, there's people who have it. And then you lean into like your local fabric stores.
Right.
Some of them will sell it to you at a discounted rate if you're giving it back to the community.
Right. Oh, that's a great recommendation. So you have inspired me to do that. So something else
right.
to be able to organize, which is what this is all about, is being able to do that.
Yeah. And so I appreciate you doing this. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for putting this together. I've watched all of the different speakers that have been here and that you've brought on, and I take away something from each one.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing. And it's the same kind of thing, for you. I needed something to fill my space as well. So trust me, it's just been as rewarding for me as it has been for everyone else to be able to have a conversation with people, and just to be able to share that information. It helps uplift me as well. So, and that's it. It's to find out, what can you lean into? I love that, as far as what you can lean into, letting go, especially in the evening, to let go, because we're not in control of the outcome, but we can be in control of our thoughts and what we do to help.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so having that is very important. And then, of course,
Yeah.
taking care of our kids, being able to make sure that they're active in things and they're learning from everything that you're doing as well. So
Right.
what a great inspiration that you are to them to be able to look at, helping out. And that
Yeah.
generation is going to be able to see that and to realize that in spite of all of the challenges and what we're going through right now, that we were to step forward and to lean into making a difference. So truly a great
Yeah.
message that you've shared with us. And I want to thank you so much for joining and for reaching
Thank
out.
you.
And then I look forward to seeing you as soon as we are able to travel again to come and
Yes.
see you in Hawaii.
Wonderful. I look forward to seeing you too, Ginger. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so you've been listening to another episode of Flatten the Curve, Not the Spirit. And for more information, we're going to put some more resources up there. We're changing it daily. So go to our website, flattenthecurvenotthespirit.com. Thanks so much, Tiare.